Simply Scuba presents the Deco Stop podcast.
Hi everybody and welcome to the Deco Stop podcast. We're going really quick this week. I'm Mark. We're here to talk about scuba diving and whales and fish and anything to do with underwater and sharks and stuff. I'm joined as ever with Sean.
We're going to talk about plastic bags then. That's a part of...
We do talk about plastic a fair amount.
Mate. This episode of Deco Stop is going to be the greatest episode ever. We've got so much to talk. Oh wait, no, we haven't.
Yeah, don't sell them short. For those of you who don't know, we're recording a day early, so we have a day less of news and preparation. That's a word that I just used. So yeah, it might be a little bit shorter. I don't know. Yeah. It might be a little bit longer. You know what Sean and I like, just randomly rambling. So jumping in quickly, so we're looking at Simply Scuba website updates. So there are a few new sort of products. I say new, most of these are established. It's just they're back on the website. So the Apex Chrono watch, so it's a chronograph watch, sort of scuba diving watch and whatnot, so stopwatch and all that kind of stuff. There's also the 1,000 meter watch, which has a helium relief valve, which is quite funny. We had a customer question about this years and years ago, and because it's got a helium relief valve in it, they asked how do I top up the helium that escapes? Like, no. You don't want the helium. That's the whole point. If you're diving down deep, this is mainly for like saturation divers. Helium, because it's quite a small molecule, it like slips into the watch, and then when you're coming back up, if it can't escape because it's like expanding, it can just screw up your watch. So you have this little relief valve that you unscrew as you're ascending, but not under the water. It just allows the helium to escape. But they were thinking it's full of helium. But what if I undo it and the helium escapes? They're like, no, you don't want the helium in there.
I've got my helium watch. It's pulling me up. Yeah. You're constantly, your hands like this, up in the air.
Yeah, it's counterbalance for the negative buoyancy of the steel wristwatch.
Cool.
The Best Divers roll bars, which is basically to put like in the back of your car to stop your cylinders from rolling around. The Aqualung Argonaut stunt knife, which is a smaller version of the Argonaut, only instead of titanium, it's steel. So it's just a smaller version, so it's not quite a sort of machete-like knife.
Did they call it the stunt because it's got a stunted end? It's blank.
I presume so. I don't know where. Aqualung are weird when they're naming their knives, because they have a blunt tip, but they also have a sheep tip. And what does a sheep tip knife mean? It got to the point where I literally, when I was adding them to the website, I was like, oh, I don't know, because they're both blunt, so that doesn't really help. And sheep tip doesn't really help me at all. I mean, that one is a bit more blunt. Does that mean blunt, or is that sheep? And it turns out, the more blunt version is actually the sheep. And why? Just, I don't know, just call it square tip or something. But the Argonaut stunt, so you get either the Argonaut point, which is kind of like has a spearhead to it, which is kind of cool. It's not the most practical because we're not fending off sharks and octopus like it's the 1960s.
Well, I am. Everywhere I go, mate. Left, right and centre. Yeah. Especially when I don't take my meds. Everyone's an octopus and shark.
Get your hands off me. But yeah, the stunt is basically just a smaller version, so it's not quite as cumbersome. It still has that black coating to it. I think it's a PVD coating, but it's made out of steel instead of titanium, so you do still have to sort of take a bit of care for it. But yeah, very reliable, tough little knife. We also have an offer from Aqualung on the i300 dive computer, or the i300C to be specific, and the Axiom BCD. Those are at a reduced rate. So if you want a cheaper, good BCD, because the Axiom is a lovely BCD, The i300C dive computer is a fantastic dive computer. If you're not into like fancy color screens or anything, you just want a pretty traditional LCD screen, then yeah, it's a bargain at the moment. So yeah, head over to simplyscuba.com. If you go to the front page, it's the main sort of banner. And we also have a new feature on each of the product pages where it basically breaks down how our deliveries are sort of running at the given moment. With everything going on about sort of pingdemic and all that kind of stuff, I think people were kind of like worried about all this kind of stuff, but now on the product page it actually has a statement, and every time I've checked it, thank goodness, it's saying deliveries are running as usual. But yeah, if you're ever sort of unsure, then yeah, just above the sort of add to basket, there's going to be a banner, and it basically says whether we're running a little bit slow or yeah, running as usual.
That's good to know, mate.
Yeah. I've never seen it say anything other than running as usual. I don't know whether it changes colour.
We're perfect in every way. We're not Nando's. We don't run out of chicken. We're Simply Scuba. We don't run out of scuba diving. Well, no.
I can honestly say we have never run out of chicken. At Simply Scuba.
Simplyscuba.com. We have never run out of chicken. We should put that on the website. That should be the main banner. We've never run out of chicken.
It will be our strap line. It's like, yeah, Simply Scuba. We've never run out of chicken. It's call me a liar, but it's never happened.
It's never happened, mate. We've never run out.
And it never will. So moving on to social media channel updates, Sean. What's new in social media?
We've got so much stuff. It is
I can see in your notes.
Oh, right. So YouTube, we've got the votes. Now, obviously, we normally say, this is doing well at this time as of recording, because we're filming this a day early because I'm having Friday off. It's my fault, guys. Sorry. I cannot give you as of recording update, but the three videos that you can vote for next week's Surface Interval are as follows. 5 things to remember when wreck diving. And the best training agency is ... at the scuba diving do's and don'ts. So, Mark, which one? Give me first, second, and third, please. What do you reckon is going to do well, and what's going to be the worst one?
Well, knowing our audience, they're going to go for the controversial choice, which is the best training agency is. So that's going to be tough.
PADI, there you go. We are. Yeah,
I think I'm thinking of like a spin. They're the best at this. Doesn't mean they're necessarily the best, because it's different for each diver. If you just want to do a certain something, then yeah, I'd go down this route. But if you want to do something else, I'd go down a different route.
As the editor, I'm going to edit it, and I'm just going to have you go, PADI bad, SSI good. And it's going to be like a 10-second video.
Oh, well, PADI, they did mess up the other day, and I think they shared I think it was like a TikTok or something of this girl, and it was on Instagram, and she did this like video where she's like walking into a dive center with her sunglasses on, and she's got this whole like stack of PADI cert cards, and she's like making it rain with them, and it's like all these different like specialty cert cards, and people are like, oh yeah, this is like PADI's wet dream, like a diver with every single speciality. But most of the comments were just kind of like, do we need this like plastic in our world? I thought you were anti-plastic, and then PADI.
Well, like anti-pasta. Anti-plastic.
And they were like, oh no, a lot of our cert cards are made out of recycled plastic now, and we do encourage like e-cards, but apparently it costs like just under $50 to have a digital card. And you're like, really? Surely it would cost less.
Surely it should just be free. Like,
yeah.
All it is a graphic and then a code. Yeah. That's dodgy, mate. That's not fair.
And you pray that your app works when you're in the middle of nowhere dive center.
Yeah.
in the middle of the
Well,
I don't know, South Pacific.
I did
with
that with
no
my
Wi-Fi.
I did that with my COVID passport. So I got now I'm double jabbed. I got my passport, and they're like, "Oh yeah, just show this email." And I'm like, "No, I'm going to physically I want the PDF version, and I want that on my phone, on the cloud."
Well, yeah, because they took my because when I got the first one, I got that little credit card piece of paper with the like first barcode, and I thought, oh, okay. And for the second one, I just sort of get that second box like filled out, and then very surreptitiously, they asked for it. I like handed it over. They like scanned all the details and stuff, and then without thinking. That they just kind of went, oh, okay, so if you go over there, and I didn't really think, oh, you haven't given it back to me. And then it wasn't until I got home, I was like, I have no proof that I've had my second jab. But if you go on the NHS app, it's all on there. You're like, okay, that's fine. I'm still going to screenshot this so I have something vaguely tangible.
Yeah. Your passport, when did you have your jab?
Oh, I don't know. A couple of weeks ago now.
Your COVID passport should be ready for you to download. It takes a while for it to get into the system, but yeah. And then you just download a PDF. And then you just, if anyone asks, not that you need it right now. Oh, he's doing this right now, guys and girls.
Yeah, it's live. Go on, you waste time, Sean.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, anyway, so anyway, guys, so head over to the community tab over on the Tube of You to get voting. So you're going to say, Mark is saying that the best trading agency is ... It's going to win. Or we could be completely bluffing you, guys, and the video that actually goes live next week is that how to be the best dive buddy. Maybe we're going to do that.
That'll never happen.
But yeah, so that's Instagram. That's YouTube. Right, so let me talk about Instagram. This is going to take ages. Thanks to everyone who's following us and that is liking our pictures. It is good to see the growth is still nice and strong over on that channel. If you do not follow us, I think we're just simply Scuba. Just type in Simply Scuba in the search engine. And then you can download. It's because Mark's downloading. You got downloading on my brain.
Yeah, I got it.
You got it. Congratulations. Well done. Everyone at home listening to this is cheering. Well done. Congratulations.
Although it says it expires in mid-September. So you have to do it.
Who cares?
Often?
I don't know. You've got it anyway. It doesn't matter. Shut up. Anyway, Instagram, thanks for everyone who's following us, everyone that likes our new posts. The new style is going very, very well, like I say, every single week. And go follow us over there if you are on the gram. We don't just push. In all honesty, 90% of our images are lifestyle-y with a 10% of product. So yeah, because lifestyle, Instagram's all about the lifestyle, isn't it, Mark? It's all about sharing your inspiration, mate, with some products. So we're going to do that. And the podcast, right? So guys, podcast news, there's loads again, just like the Instagram. There's literally nothing. People are still...
You're listening to it.
Yeah, people are still listening. People are still following. People are still subscribing. So do that. The only thing I would say is if you are listening to us on Apple Podcasts, could you please rate us, please? We've got good reviews on there anyway, which is really, really good. People are doing it. But just to remind you, if you can rate us, that would do us a solid. And that is it. Literally, just basically mainly the vote for social.
Yeah.
Everything else. Yeah. Oh, I guess I could say that we've got a bit of a back end issue, haven't we, Mark? And at the end of August, well, that's where you went to the doctors last night.
I was like, well, I wasn't making that public.
But yeah, so basically there's been a glitch in the matrix in our ordering system when it comes to us. Not Joe Blogs, not the public buying stuff, but when Mark and myself need to order products to film or to edit, we can't, which is a fantastic feature to have. So we have videos up until the 31st of August. So basically the beginning part of September, there probably won't be products for another week, maybe a week and a half, basically because... Well, Mark's got to film them. I've then got to edit them, and then we've got to schedule them. I don't want to be chasing my tail, so there'll be a week of lag. But that does mean basically, we're going to share on the community older product review. So at 5 o'clock from the 1st of September till whenever, depending on how long this issue goes on with, I will be reposting on the community tab. And then as soon as everything's back up and running, we will have all of that system back up again. But yeah, so there might be maybe 2 weeks where it will just be reposting older videos. But hey, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? If you didn't watch it the first time, you can watch it the second time. It's all good. But yeah, that's it. That's social done, I guess.
Cool. So on to Scuba, just general underwater news. So the first one, this is actually a throwback for a few weeks back, where
you didn't throw it. No, never mind.
No, a free diver around Lake Windermere. We mentioned him because he recovered a lost engagement ring. It slipped off the girl's finger, allegedly, and of course, this sort of free diver, he went down and he found it. He's found something else. He's quite used to finding stuff. He does this quite a lot, just like cleaning the local area and like recovering when people drop their wallets or their phones and kind of stuff.
Maybe he needs to. Maybe he's the English version of Dali MD, or whatever his name is.
Pretty much, yeah. He needs to start a YouTube channel if he doesn't.
He does.
But he found someone's leg.
As you do.
So a lady called Josephine from Birmingham. She jumped into Lake Windermere for a swim. She lost her leg previously due to cancer, but she jumped in and her prosthetic leg just fell off. Apparently, she didn't notice until she got back to dry land, and she tried to stand up and couldn't. She looked down and realised her prosthetic leg wasn't attached to her anymore. Now, I've never had a prosthetic leg. I don't know how it feels, but I imagine you'd notice when it falls off.
Is it going to be like when it happened, she stood up and it was like in a cartoon, and then she kind of like, there was a pause of realisation, and then she just fell over?
Don't know, but
a weird one.
The free diver, he basically found it down at 5 meters and recovered it, and gave it back to her. So
what would have been better? What would have been better, Mark, is he went to go and find the engagement ring. He couldn't find it. He then went to go and get this foot, and what happened is the engagement ring was on one of the toes of the foot. Double whammy.
What are the chances?
Exactly. That would have been amazing. No, good on him. Well done. That's awesome.
Next news story. If you're on Instagram and you've liked all sorts of scuba diving, like water things, I'd wager that a jewelry company called Cape Cod has shown up on your feed. They have a
do they actually sell? Do they sell cod with capes on then?
I don't know. They do a whole bunch of like marine inspired jewelry, and their flagship bracelet is a shark. So one end of the bracelet is tied onto like the shark's mouth, and then the shark's fin kind of like hooks round, and that's like a hook for the other side of the bracelet. And
cool.
That's it. I'd wager that everyone listening to this has probably seen it online.
If not, it will come up on your Instagram feed within the next 3 hours. Yeah, you'll see it.
So they've been making this for years and years and years. It is their flagship. Apparently, they've seen plenty of knockoffs, people kind of copying the same idea. But this Shark Week back in July, they were quite surprised to find that a big jewelry company called Pura Vida basically just copy and pasted that design, and it is a quite obvious rip-off, to the point where the chap who sort of runs and created Cape Clasps, he did a video and like superimposed his image over theirs and then like adjusted the visibility, and it is a carbon copy. I think the tail is ever so slightly different, but is basically the same thing. And he sort of threw this all up and like demanded they sort of stop it, and they did give them their dues, I guess. They took down their listing, and
they threw the bracelets in the ocean. Don't need this now.
Apparently, where was it? So Pura Vida, in a statement, said, "We absolutely value intellectual property and would never intentionally copy design." They were in the process of an investigation to sort of find out sort of how this occurred. So I imagine
a graphic designer saw it. Yeah, it was just like, I can just tweak that a little bit. Happy days. I've got my boss breathing down my neck for something for Shark Week.
Yeah.
Let's just knock this out.
They're sweating. Well, that was it, because they're like, well, Shark Week for them is like sort of Black Friday or something, because everyone's got sharks on their minds, so it's going to show up in their feeds and sales are going to increase. But yeah, if you're like copying my design, then yeah, come on guys, we got to stop this. And yeah, they did. So yeah, that's just sort of caught my interest. The next one comes from Alaska, and a fishing captain has been hit with a $1 million fine, as well as a 6-month sentence for misreporting his catch. He
Idiot.
basically, so he was sentenced last week for knowingly submitting false records. I don't know why I said that weird.
No, you
concerning
didn't.
the locations.
I prefer that.
Let me just get my silver spoon out. So for knowingly submitting false records, I said it again, concerning the locations and regulatory areas where fish were harvested. But not only did he like knowingly falsified the logbooks, daily fishing logbooks, and fishing game tickets and stuff, landing reports, all that kind of stuff. He actually kept a like secret like reel where he was and where he was fishing and all that kind of stuff. So on the official stuff that he sort of handed over, it was all rubbish, but then he kept this like secret diary of actually where he was fishing and what he was catching and all this kind of stuff. So he's had a fairly hefty fine. So don't do it. If you're a boat captain, it's not worth it. They will find you.
Don't leave your secret diary on your bedstand. Maybe keep it somewhere else if you're gonna do it. Not that I advise that sort of
code.
Thing. Yeah.
No.
Black ink or invisible ink or whatever.
One thing I heard in the news, and I can't remember whether I mentioned this previously, but so one of the big things nowadays is that a lot of fishermen, they're turning off their like radar or whatever it is. They have this special beacon. So if they're going to do some sneaky fishing somewhere illegal, they basically switch off this transponder, which I don't think there should be an off switch for it. But hey,
no, it sounds a bit silly to have an off switch personally.
What officials have been doing is they fit like these like receiver devices to like seagulls or some kind of seabirds, and because they're in close proximity, they can still pick up on some other ping or whatever these boats have. So if they detect that you've turned off this transponder, then of course it has GPS and whatnot, and because it's on these like random seabirds, they just like go out and they have like the perfect like sneaky access. And yeah, they've been catching a lot of fishermen and basically sort of handing out fines to them because they've been in the wrong area, they've been lying, and they're turning off this this transponder thing, which they shouldn't do. Yeah, I thought that was quite fun.
They're going to get paranoid these now. Seagulls. They're going to have guns and there's every single bird. They might as well. They're going to come back with rather than a bunch of fish in their hull or whatever. It's going to be a bunch of seagulls,
bunch of dead seagulls with collars on.
Yeah, it's rock. It's rock fish.
Yes. When I first heard the news story, I thought they meant like small drones that looked like seagulls. But no, I think later on in the article they're like, oh no, it is actually seagulls, but with like these little like collars on or something. And you're like, oh yeah, that's. I mean, fishermen, they already don't like, what is it, albatross or something? If an albatross lands on your ship, that's really bad luck or something. So they did used to shoot them to avoid the bad luck.
That's so stupid.
I think that then became bad luck. And I mean, that's why bananas are bad luck for fishermen. It was...
What?
It's something to do with bananas float. And it was if your ship sank, and then the crate of bananas would always float, so they always saw that as, oh, that's why it's bad luck or something. So yeah, bananas are kind of bad luck on boats.
Or make your boat out of bananas and then it will never sink. Logic.
That was one thing. I was watching one of those expert reacts videos, and it was like a 1700 naval warfare expert reacting to like Pirates of the Caribbean and stuff. And he's like, and he was like, well, no, because you see this like huge Spanish galleon that's just like sinking under the waves, and he's like, no, wood floats. It would take a long time. It wouldn't just kind of like, oh, you've like sort of, there's a hole in the hull. Oh no, and then bloop, it's under the waves. It's like, no, it would take days for that to sink because it's made of wood. Yes, it wouldn't sail properly, but yeah, it would take quite a while. He was like, no, fire was like the most dangerous thing, because once a fire breaks out on a wooden ship, that's a bad day.
Well, not necessarily. You're surrounded by water, so you can put it out.
Well, he said, I don't see the point in people using like fire arrows and stuff, because sure, but you're more likely to set fire to your own ship.
Having all of that fire.
You've got to light the arrow on your own ship, so you've got to start a fire. So no, I don't think they did that.
They did. They did.
Final news story comes from India, and there is a new India Book of record has been broken. I didn't know this was a thing. It's like India's version of the Guinness World Records, and it's for extraordinary feats, extraordinary people. And this was awarded to Nitin Kumar, who painted the largest underwater oil painting in the world.
Congratulations.
It measures 50 centimeters by 36 centimeters.
Wow. It's massive.
Which I think is about A3. The painting was of the world basically wearing a mask, and it had the sort of COVID sort of around it. And nice. It was on the occasion of World Earth Day. And it was basically him in a swimming pool with a mask and snorkel, just kind of like crouching down. He did have a line of rope like wrapped around his waist and tied on, which I think was to help him like stay under the water, because I think it was attached to like bricks or something at the bottom. I couldn't see.
We didn't realise that there was an Indian mafia and they were trying to actually drown him.
Yeah, who gave him a snorkel?
Yeah, damn it! Snorkels and oil paints. What are you doing? We're trying to kill him. He basically did an underwater painting. I haven't actually looked into if there is a world record for the largest underwater painting. Well, Mark looks that up. I'm excited to announce the PADI underwater oil painting cert card to be released this autumn, guys. But you have to go over to India and you have to have ropes with bricks attached to you in order to do it. But you can do it for the cheap price of 10 grand and get your card.
I think you have to work a little bit harder than that, because the Guinness World Record for the largest underwater painting is just under 8 square meters.
Okay.
So a little bit bigger. That was created by Saddam Kilani in Egypt, in Dahab, on the 30th of September 2020. It was, again, to honour medical teams and essential workers around the world for saving people's lives during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's a little bit bigger.
Okay, so do that then. That's the PADI cert card. It's going to be on that. That's good. Also, though,
It doesn't actually say
if it
how
went
deep
wrong,
it was.
then he would be taking time away from the emergency services because they would have to try and save his life.
Yeah.
But it didn't,
yeah.
so that doesn't matter. That never came up. That's the negative Nelly in me going, is it, what's he found? What have you found, Mark?
Oh, no, sorry. I just got the largest painting, which is like measured in kilometers or something.
It's called the Earth.
I was like,
That's
wow,
the
that's
largest.
huge. But no, it's just the largest painting. It's like, oh, okay, that doesn't count.
The Earth is the largest painting.
Is it though?
Yeah, and humanity is the like, what eats paintings? Like mothballs? No, that eats clothing. We are the whatever eats paintings, and we're ruining in it, and we're pooping all over it. We're chewing it up and pooping it out.
This is some like what is it? Fourth dimension? Oh no, actually, we're living in a simulation.
Yeah,
it's just we're not actually conscious. It's
No.
just a huge simulation. Oh no, it's actually we're a painting.
Yeah, we're a painting. This is if the Matrix was made in Renaissance times. That's exactly what's happened. We are a painting. We are painting the Earth with our filth, plastic, and tears.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Anyway.
Moving on. To my product of the week. So I'm talking about the Aqualung squeeze knife. So
That's a bit dangerous. You don't want to squeeze a knife.
you have to squeeze it in the right place.
Hey.
So when I saw the Argonaut stunt, I thought, oh, okay, that would be a nice sort of product of the week. And then I thought, oh, well, the regular Argonaut, the titanium one, that's a better knife. And it's like, oh, but I feel like I've done that one before. And I feel like I've mentioned the squeeze before, but
Well, you have. You did
whatever,
you did at the beginning of the podcast. So
probably. But the squeeze is a great dive knife. If you're in the market for a new dive knife, this is very, very popular because instead of like some complicated mechanism to try and release it, it has a like 2 opposing springs. So on either side, on the top and the bottom of the handle of the knife, you have these sections that you basically have to squeeze together to pull it out of the sheath, and that makes sure that you have a really strong grip of the knife before you even take it out. This has actually been copied by quite a few other brands now because it's such a good design. And the knife itself, it comes in a range of different sort of sizes and shapes and whatnot. But yeah, you can get a titanium version, the stainless steel. But for most like recreational divers, this is really all you need. It'll do the job. It'll cut through sort of fishing line and any entanglements, but it's not too big or cumbersome. But the mount that it sort of comes with the sheath, you can fit it over like a webbing band. You can get some rubber leg straps. You can either mount it to like a BCD as well. It kind of ticks all of the boxes. So yeah, if you're in the market for a new dive knife, the Aqualung Squeeze is definitely very high on my list, and I can definitely recommend it.
excellent. That's cool, man.
Yeah,
Fancy.
Yeah, I like it.
Well, yeah, if you didn't, it wouldn't have been your product of the week. I really hate this thing, but you should buy it. It's rubbish. It falls apart. Like that would be like if a certain rattling dive computer was your product of the week, which we shall not mention. Yeah. Swiftly moving on before
They're
still not
make
budging it. They still make that, really?
Yeah.
What did they have they changed markets though? As in it's now a kid's baby rattle and not an actual dive computer.
I think that was just an awful coincidence on top of a coincidence. Obviously, we're not going to mention any names, but yeah, this company basically said, "Oh, please, 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 please,
Mate,
please,
they were
can you,
badgering
do
you
a
for
review?"
ages, weren't they?
They
Badgering you
were,
months.
yeah. They were really bad for it, and to the point where we were saying it's like we don't want to do a video on it, and they're like, "Oh, we're sending you samples. There's samples in the post," and you're like, "Oh god." So these two dive computers, different colours, they arrived in the post. I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, let's at least look at it." And I took it out of the box, and you know when there's like a loose screw on the inside of something, and it like rattles around. I was like, "Oh, this is awful." Oh,
That's one
and
to
it's
take
like really-
volcano diving, that dive computer.
yeah, and it's really light as well. It worries me when things are like suspiciously lightweight, because you feel, oh, there's just no like sustenance to it.
Yeah.
It feels like fragile.
Well, they should, even so, what they should have done is what Beats used to do and probably still do, and just put weights in it.
Yeah,
They put weights in the headphone and make it feel like it's
yeah.
fun tip, guys.
Yeah.
Everyone goes on about Dr. Dre Beats, mate, but they are weighted and they are pieces of crap.
Yeah. I think I saw someone and he disassembled them and like broke down all of their component parts, and he's like, "Yeah, this is like $3 worth of equipment. You could buy this from Radio Shack."
This the dive computer though was not made by Beats by Dr. Dre. Although if they did, it would have some bass underwater and then break. Anyway, let's swiftly move on before we spill the guts and say some names we shouldn't be saying. Mark, this week's question, obviously it's been a couple of weeks since we've had the Olympics. And I couldn't really think of a question, so I thought I'd just tie in with that. Considering this week's a bit of a throwaway episode, although personally I'm rather enjoying the randomness of it. If you are, guys, let us know in the comments below on the YouTube version of this. And if
you're not, I'm sorry.
If you're not, I'm also sorry, but also it's tough. It's happening.
This is what you signed up for.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah, Deco's one of those things where you basically don't have any control over. To be fair, you don't have any control over anything that we put out. But, anyway.
A little bit. They can vote for one video a week.
And if we don't like it, we just delete it. No, we don't do that. Yeah. Actually, no. Like I said last week, we are a dictatorship, guys.
Yeah.
We are a dictatorship. Anyway, let's move on to the question. So, scuba diving, Olympics. If scuba diving became an Olympic sport, Mark, what would be the disciplines? And I'm also going to rope in free diving in that as well. So kind of aqua, like free diving and scuba diving. If you were a part of the committee, the new Olympic scuba diving committee, and they go, Mark, what do you think aspects of the sport we should do it so people can win bronze, silver, and gold? What aspects and disciplines would you use?
I mean, free diving is the easy one because we kind of already have it with sort of IDA and CMAS and all stuff. So you'd have like dynamic, you'd have static, all sorts of different apnea. So as far as like swimming down with 2 fins, swimming down with no fins, just holding your breath on the surface, all of that kind of stuff that like already exists. So that would be super easy. As far as scuba diving, I can kind of picture a bit like Le Mans, where you have to like start on the sideline. You have to run up to your like BCD and tank and stuff, and you have to assemble it. And that's the part of the race. So you have to assemble your gear, and then you have to jump in and collect something from a certain depth or do something. So I imagine that could be like
That would be
discipline.
the classic pool brick, the black pool brick you had in school, and they used to throw it in. Throw that in. Go!
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, just pick this up off the bottom. Why?
Just do it.
Questions. Just get it.
Look, get it, nearly drown, and get out.
One thing that we used to do for the deep dive speciality, or sort of portion of the advanced open water, was to sort of show the effect of narcosis. And because when you dive down deep, especially below 30 meters, your head gets a little bit fuzzy. So we'd basically make people do math, just like work out some fairly remedial sort of math questions on the surface, and we'd time them. And then we'd rewrite the questions similar but different numbers so they couldn't just remember it. And then we'd time them at depth to show how much longer it took you to work stuff out. So that could go into something. So yeah, it's some kind of, okay, you've all got to go down, you've got to dive down to this depth, you've got to work out these, like, I don't know, math equations or tongue twisters or I don't know, something, and then sort of come back up, because coming back up as well would be quite interesting. It would be dangerous. Obviously, they wouldn't want to like encourage that, but yeah, I don't know how we'd do that to avoid like people just getting the bends just to get gold. That would be quite dangerous. Otherwise, I don't know how you could compete. I suppose like speed, swimming, but then you're taking the fins and the streamlining of your equipment and your wetsuit and stuff. That also like comes into account. That's not really what people want to.
What about DPV racing?
Yeah, well,
100-meter dash. Thing. Yeah,
but you'd have that in the regular Olympics, wouldn't you?
And then you'd have to do that. Have to do doping to test the engines of the DPV, so you don't like put NOS in it or something.
Yeah. I suppose one, if you're looking to like test the human body, as it were, it wouldn't be the most thrilling to watch, but it would be like who could make their like tank last the longest. It'll be like the slowest breathing.
That's boring.
Yeah, that would be really boring, but it would kind of test your
ability,
air consumption rate. Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, I don't know. I suppose one interesting one that we used to do quite a lot to sort of prepare yourself for being in the water is you'd put all of your dive equipment sort of relatively set up at the bottom of the pool, and you'd have to dive down and basically get kitted up. So no mask, no fins, and whatnot. So you'd have to swim down. You'd have to secure your air so that you can breathe from it, and then like put your weight belt on so you weren't floating off, and then sort of put your mask on and sort of get kitted up. So that could be like a, or maybe like a relay event, because that would be quite interesting.
Okay.
You have like a team of 4. You have to swim a length of the pool, swim down, put your gear on, and then swim back. And then the other person has to use the same equipment. So you have to take it off. You have to do that like equipment exchange. And then, yeah, that might be quite interesting.
Okay.
Like a relay race somehow underwater.
With sharks.
Yeah.
With lasers on. Sharks with freaking lasers.
I mean, the classic one, if you're a member of like a dive club with a pool, you often see like egg and spoon races.
Okay.
But instead of an egg, you use a ping pong ball, so you have to hold it down with the spoon.
Okay,
you
that's
have to
pretty
like
cool.
transfer that, and it can't touch the surface.
So just imagine that. Like, I've got an Olympian here who's like spent 24 hours cycling or whatever. Another Olympian who spent years getting her body fine-tuned for the Olympic hurdles, and you just got this guy's like, I won a ping pong and spoon race and I got gold.
Well, the thing is that the faster you swim, the more it's going to push it off of the spoon because of the water resistance. So there is some kind of technique in there that could be quite interesting.
You'd have just like you'd have all these athletes, and then you'll get to the scuba diving, and it's just fat people called Greg or whatever, or Dave,
Yeah.
Steve eating a pork pie. I'm sorry, I do not mean to offend any scuba diver out there. I know some of you and most of you are pretty ripped dudes and dudettes.
You've literally just named and shamed about half of the British dive industry.
Sorry, Gregs. Sorry, Steves. I didn't mention the Charlies though.
No, Charlie's all right. Yeah. So you could get something like octo push, which is a bit like hockey. Normally it's done like breath holding. And you basically get these small, tiny little like hockey sticks, but it's really short. You just hold it in your hand, and yeah, you have to like flip this like hockey puck along the bottom of the swimming pool. If you're doing it on scuba, it's a little bit easier because you don't have to hold your breath. Otherwise, we did experiment with who can erect a tent the fastest underwater in the swimming pool. That was quite fun, but when we were like experimenting, we weren't really thinking too hard because we're like, oh, okay, well, we'll need to like anchor it down somehow. So, oh, okay, well, you just have to put like lead bricks in like the four corners inside the tent. But of course, as soon as you swim into the tent and you exhale your bubbles, it gets caught in the top of the tent and the tent floats. So we're like, okay, yeah, we can't get like normal divers to do this because that's quite dangerous.
What you could do, depending on the tent that you did, there could be like vent holes. So like you'd have the mesh lining. So that would have been. You could have done it where you just put the inner bit up where it's all mesh.
Well, that's what we did.
Yeah,
and it got caught in that mesh. It must be the water tension or something. It was holding on to it.
Oh.
I think we did think that. It was like, oh, well, yeah, it's got that air sort of vent at the top.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, that would be great. But no, it still floated. So like, oh, okay, fine.
It's almost like tents aren't designed to do that, which I think is absurd.
I can't remember where we got that tent. It was just, maybe it was my one from when I used to go camping. But it's just like, yeah, we were trying to think of fun things to do, and we're like, oh yeah, maybe we can do this because it's a little bit different. And yeah, it didn't really work. I mean, it worked. It was good fun, and it was good sort of
there you
teamwork. But yeah, no, for instructor level candidates, it was fine. But anything else, you're like, oh no, this is a bit dangerous.
So guys, listening out there, I would like to, over the next couple of weeks, can you please send us some pictures of you setting up a tent underwater and you in a sleeping bag in your scuba diving gear underwater, all snuggled up, please. Upload it to the wonderful World Wide Web and then send us a link on our YouTube. Thank you very much. And the best picture gets a high five, a virtual high five from us.
A virtual, yeah.
Do it.
So,
now.
yeah, I mean, I reckon like underwater relay equipment exchange, that would be quite interesting.
Okay.
Because then like depth doesn't come into account so much, and yeah, your choice of fins, yeah, go nuts. But yeah, there's a certain amount of you've got to have like easy, quick adjust. So the gear that fits everyone and it's weighted correctly, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that might be quite interesting.
Okay. Right. Well, that's been us blabbering on. Guys and girls that are listening to this, either on our podcast or on YouTube, what disciplines would you add, or what would you make up that entices or combines scuba diving for the Olympic sports? What about underwater shooting, spearfishing? That would be a good shout. You can have spearfishing with but with like clay pigeons. But like underwater.
Yeah, it could be like that. What is it? It's like shoot and ski or something. They have to ski for like 5 miles.
Yeah.
They have to shoot targets.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. That's
called.
A Winter Olympic one, isn't it? But
yeah.
Do something like that.
But yeah.
You're welcome.
Like free diving, you have to swim like all this distance. So you all like tuck it out, and then you go down, and you have to like prepare your spear gun, shoot a fish.
Then you go on to scuba or something, and then you scuba to somewhere else, and it's you versus a shark that's been ramped up on Red Bull or something.
With a laser.
Yeah. Oh, it's got to have a laser. But anyway, guys and girls, what disciplines would you add? Let us know in the comments, please. Yeah, I like that one. Oh, what's the best? That was a throwaway one as well. I thought, yeah.
No, that would work. Anyway, yeah. So that's it. Obviously, thank you for listening, everybody. Don't forget to sort of follow us or subscribe, whatever it's called, on whatever platform you're listening to us on, because we're all over the place. If it's on I can't remember, Spotify is called one thing, but if you're on YouTube, it's subscribe. So yeah, just sort of click on. If it looks like subscribe-y kind of base, just click on the button. That sort of really does help us. Don't forget to rate us as well wherever you are. It only takes a couple of minutes, but it does make a big difference for us.
Yeah, only takes a couple of minutes to hit that 5-star. That's all.
Yeah. It's a lot longer for the 1 star, so don't bother clicking on 1 star.
Anything lower than 4, should we say, is just a pain in the butt. So don't bother.
It's not worth it.
No,
it's not worth your time.
Just hit 5 or mainly 5. 5's the quickest. And you get a free donut as
and-
well. I don't know when it turns up, but eventually you will get a donut.
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually.
No promises. There's a little asterisk after that with
Yeah.
terms and conditions.
Yeah.
Don't forget to hit up our website, simplyscuba.com. We sell all sorts of interesting scuba diving equipment from a range of the world's best scuba diving suppliers.
And
If you're
remember,
looking
we've never
at-
sold out of chicken on our website. We've never sold out of chicken.
I promise.
Just
If
throw
you
you
are
off there.
looking at something, we do have a few sort of different buying options for you just to make your life a little bit easier. If it's something fancy like a BCD or a dive computer, we have Klarna, which is a 0% finance option just to make your sort of buying a little bit easier so you can offset your payments. We also have ADN as well, which helps make your online buying a little bit safer. It's all sort of encrypted and sneaky stuff. Just search for ADN and you'll learn all about it. Don't forget to check out the 2 Minute Foundation, which is our partner charity, where you basically spend 2 minutes of your time when you're out on a walk just to clean up your local area, whether it's a beach or whether it's the streets or your local dog park, wherever it is. Just take 2 minutes out of your time just to collect a little bit of sort of rubbish and dispose of it properly because no one else seems to, so we can do it ourselves. There is an app as well that you can join. I think it's called Beach Cleanup, where you can basically take a photo of what you've collected and sort of share it around. It's a nice community to get involved with. If you do have any questions, comments, queries, or corrections about anything that you've heard myself or Sean say, pop it down in the comments. Usually on YouTube is the easiest place for us to find. But if you use the hashtag AskMark, all one word, that just makes it a lot easier for us to find. And we will discuss it in the Friday show. Thank you for listening, everybody. And of course, safe diving.
Stay classy, scuba divers.
The Deco Stop podcast is produced and recorded by Simply Scuba, the UK's #1 dive store. Visit today at simplyscuba.com.